This is a quick show and tell about a book about woodlice, which are terrestrial isopods. Now, it's quite an old book, but whenever I was looking up information, this name kept coming up, S.L. Sutton, and often this book. So I managed to get a copy because it is quite old. This is not a woodlouse. I guess it's a series picture. Now, looking in the book, it also came with this, which must have been the previous owner. Notes on the Woodlice of Surrey by A.E. Ellis. Looks a bit like it's been ripped out of a book. I also see this is an old library book from St Andrew's School, Leatherhead, Main Library in 1990. So they had it for a while, decided they didn't want it anymore. If you look at this book, the copyright date is 1972, so it's fairly old. Although a lot of the information's still reasonably current, there are things I didn't know rather than being outright wrong for the most part. And I've written this introduction to the biology of woodlice because I feel that the increasing use of these animals in biology teaching has created a demand for more background information than has hitherto been available to the people who want it. Which is interesting because in 1972 they were thinking people using them for teaching. Today you'll find a lot of YouTube videos about keeping them as pets, which is where my interest first came in. I was interested as an ecologist, but at that point you really need to know a lot more about how to keep them. Always looking to improve how I keep my animals. So in the book we have body structure, physiology, behaviour, genetics, food, predators and parasites, population ecology, distribution and habitat range, identification of British woodlice, and techniques of study. So there's lots of stuff in here. It's got a few photographs, a few diagrams of exactly the sort of things you're looking for. Let me look at them. And the book's in good condition. It may have been an old library book, but I don't think many people took this out. Strange people who don't like woodlice. We have all the behaviour, all the nasty things that eat woodlice. Statistics. Nice, and here's the checklist of woodlice in Britain. Obviously he's a bit biased because that's where he came from. Now, classification keys can be a bit strange at first if you're not used to them. But they basically are like multiple choice. You're asked a question and you look like which one looks more like mine, and then you go to the next one. They'll say which page to go to, so that's very useful. And it does include things like this, the little dwarf whites that are not native, but they lived in England for quite a while. I have a few little colour pictures. Porcellio spinicornis, which I don't see around here very much. Distribution maps obviously is something that has changed, so you need current information for that sort of thing. More woodlice springs. We've got some of the ones that roll up. They can't all do that. The ones I keep, I don't have any ball rollers at the moment. I have the ones that can't do this. They kind of go into a little sea instead, or run away. So I think this is a good book if you are very into woodlice. It's a bit of history, even if some things have changed. And it does have quite a bit of information. There's a reason why people still cite this guy, because he went into woodlice in a lot more detail than most people. You have all of his little things he's filled out, doing isopod surveys. So it was fun to get this book, and I was pleased that the little article in the front from the person who'd had it before, which was also quite fun. So that's my little show and tell. If people would like more information on how to actually identify woodlice, I could do that in another video with some little role models, rather than, you can't really do it just from looking through this. Not unless you've got a copy yourself. And that's all for today.